This is the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. 3, 2, 1. And welcome everybody to this episode of Coming Home with John Allen. I am your host, John Allen. I am the professional one. The unprofessional laughter in the background is my guest today, Snoopy.
Hello, everybody.
And that thing was, you know how they do in Hollywood?
Yeah, but this is not Hollywood.
Yeah, but I have to know when to start the, to synchronize the video and the audio. There's a reason for this. Okay? Let's stay professional.
Okay. How about, okay, you ready? Let's start. 1, 2, 3.
No, you have to do a audio, which is the countdown, 3, 2, 1, and also a visual, which is my arm going down.
Sure,
You think I did that just for the fun of it?
You believe that. You
think I'm so childish? I would just,
yes, I do.
Let me act like I'm in hot.
Yes, I do. Was it fun? But was it fun? It was fun. It was fun. Yeah.
Man's got to do what a man's got to do.
Man's got to do what a man's got to do.
There's things that have to be done production-wise, and seeing as I have no assistants, it's just me. There's things that have to get done. Okay. Can we get started? Is it okay with you?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Yes. It feels good to be back. We went on vacation. We were gone for not quite 2.5, I don't know, 15, 16 days, something like that.
18 days.
18 days. Thank you. 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks. And for me, it was quite the emotional return home. The kids got to hang with family members.
And where did we go? You never said that.
I went home to Ohio.
To United States.
That's correct.
Could be people listening that is not.
Well, let's just count on everybody being a longtime faithful listener, which, by the way, if you're watching me on YouTube, excellent. That's where I want you to be. If you're listening on a podcast platform on Spotify, iTunes, or what they call that, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or any platform that plays podcasts. If you look in the description of this episode, you can find a link where you can click in and get my audiobook. I'm going to plug that in more detail a little bit later, but I do have an audiobook. If you like to hear my voice, if you would like to hear my story, it's all right there in an audiobook.
And it's interesting.
Well, you're not biased, are you?
No.
Am I still interesting to you?
You know what?
Don't hurt me.
No, you're very interesting. You are. And it is, I just love listening to you when you read. Remember when we started together? You read to
Started what together?
Oh, when we were all in love and everything.
This caravan of love? Mm-hmm. Yes, I started reading the Chronicles of Amber, written by Roger Zelensky. I read the first book of that, which that just might be my favorite book. Actually, if I combine all of those books, it's like, I don't know, how many books are there? 3, 6, 7, something like that. All those books. If I were to combine them together, the Chronicles of Amber, that just might be my favorite piece of reading. Yeah.
And you shared it with me.
And I shared it with you.
Not the whole thing, just the first chapter, but it still was very nice.
I started losing my voice. I got wrapped up in work and fell less in love with you.
Anyway.
I do enjoy reading, and I found that I enjoy reading out loud. I thought it was going to be a burden reading my audiobook, but I love it. It's very inspiring for me. It makes me keep focused on the whole writing process. It makes me want to keep going. I'll talk about that later. We'll get into that audiobook later, but you wanted to say something?
No.
Oh, gosh. Stop giving me that look then. She gave me a look, people. A look that said, like she wanted to say something.
You kind of closed that door, so let's continue with something else.
Okay, well, let's keep talking about my audiobook then. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say,
no format here.
It is in that audiobook, people will know if they listen or buy it, whatever, that you are from the United States and what state you are in and where you're from and
yes,
the town.
Yes, there's a lot of detail. I don't name the town, but it's not a secret. But the thing is you will find out about me if you listen to me reading my audiobook. It tells my story.
You do
I think I do. I do. I don't think there's any arrogance in me saying that.
No.
It's just I have seen a lot,
but
and a lot has happened to me.
It's not only that. I mean, I'm sure I have an interesting story, but yes, I do. you say that
do.
quite,
You do have
but
an interesting story.
the thing is, I'm not a writer, or not yet anyway, and it's the way you tell it. That's my point. The
Ah,
way you tell it, the way you describe things is it's very good because
I am.
I can picture it when you read it to me. It's like a movie going on in my head
Well,
about,
thank you.
yeah.
But I think I'm blessed with the power of, oh gosh, what do they call that in English? Vermittling. Um,
Uh,
wow, what is that word? What is that word in English?
I don't know. Beautiful
Okay, let me see if I can talk
English.
around it and then come up with it. I am blessed with the ability
To use words.
to put words on what I see in my mind,
Yeah,
or
but you
put words on what I have experienced and make it, and just, yeah.
you're good with words. You're not using like a certain ex-president,
Well,
like
thank you, but
very, very,
I can
very,
tell you
you
why
know.
that is. And again, there's no arrogance in this. It's just a fact that I am a lifelong reader. I've been
Right.
reading since I was reading before school. I was reading novels when I was still in grade school, and I am certainly reaping the benefits of that now as an author. Um, it feels good to say I'm not just a writer. To me, a writer is someone who writes, but an author is someone who writes and has published work out there. I'm an author now.
Yeah, I was
My
thinking
audiobook
about
is published. It's out there for people, and
a
it
good
feels
swimmer,
good.
but it's something that some.
Say what?
I was thinking about a good swimmer,
And a
but
good swimmer is a what? Is a what? What's it? I I said I said I'm an author, and you say I'm a.
author.
That's not what you say.
Yeah.
No,
What
because
do
an
I say?
author isn't a good swimmer, but a.
Author?
Yeah, she says otter instead of author, and I said an otter. I don't think they can write, but
Author. Yeah, that's right.
an otter
So
can swim quite well.
that's how it is.
That's where it is.
All right.
You tried to tell a joke, but you messed it up. Why don't you just leave it to me, Snoop? I'll do the jokes.
Okay.
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 Uh, no, but thank you for that compliment. I think that's a great. Thank you for that advertisement. That
Well,
advertisement
it wasn't
for my book.
meant to be an advertisement, but it's just, when you mention it, that's.
Well, thank you for that. But I enjoy writing, and that's the most important thing. And I'm just fortunate. I'm blessed with that ability to put words on my thoughts and images that I have in my head. And those images, in this case, those images are my memories. And
Right.
that's what's in this book.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk more about it, or I'll talk more about it later. Can we move on now? We've been talking 8 minutes about me. That's not
my
what
God.
this.
Yeah, no.
That's not
vacation.
what we're supposed to talk about. Vacation.
United States of America.
Yeah.
The land of the free.
Now, the last time I was home was 2019. I was there by myself. Last time we were there as a family was 2015. But that wasn't a real family vacation because that was combined with me competing in the United States.
Yeah, you went on your ego trip while I took the kids and went to Disney World with them.
Shots fired. Boy, did that hurt. Ego trip? How about to see the fruition of all my efforts for a couple of years before that come to fruition, where I can put my my abilities on display at the USAPL Powerlifting Nationals.
Ego trip.
That's not an ego trip.
Were we there?
In all.
Were we there?
I didn't want you there.
Exactly.
I didn't want you there. Okay, now I can hear.
Did you have fun?
I can hear everybody who's watching and listening, especially the ladies. Oh my gosh, he didn't want her there. Well, what's wrong with him? Well, he had. I'm going to tell you why I didn't want you there. You know why I didn't want you there.
I know why you didn't want
because
me there.
When I have 700 pounds plus on my back and I'm getting ready to squat it, I don't need to look out in the audience by chance, by mistake, and see you sitting there like this. Oh no, be careful. That is, I can't. No, I can't.
Yeah.
This lovely woman who supports everything I do, when I'm not motivated to do the things that I actually like to do, she reminds me, she keeps me in line and in focus. So let that be said in all seriousness.
It is.
But also in all seriousness, I cannot look out there and see that look on your face. You came to one powerlifting meet that I was in, and I actually bombed
one and
out.
Only.
I actually bombed out of that meet, and I'm sorry, but I think it was your fault.
All really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But anyway, we enjoyed Disney World.
Don't hop over you temporarily ruining my dreams by showing up to the one powerlifting meet where I bombed out. I think it was your fault.
Well,
I think I'm going to blame you for that.
well,
That look on your face.
You got your shining
What did you call
moment.
Me? Excuse me?
What? Okay, moving along. Anyway, 2015, and now we're back.
So now we went back. We just got back a week ago today, right? Last Saturday, wasn't it? Yeah.
Gosh, that went quick.
It did go quick. And I'm still not recovered, by the way. That jet lag killed me. I'm still worn out. Work
right away.
I've missed the last 2 training days because of this, and that's not good. Mm-mm. I'm training in the morning, though. I promise myself. No, so we're back now, and boy, what a reflective period this was. For me, I started to say, in all seriousness, it was an emotional journey for me to see the kids get to see family members. They meet family members face to face now who they've never seen before.
I know.
You know, there's great conversations by telephone, great connection there, but they finally got to actually see them and hang out. And just for me to just kind of lean back and sit there on the couch, everybody was like a half circle, and just watch the interaction with our 2 babies, 17 and 15. Watch our 2 babies interact with both the old ones in the family and the younger ones, the ones that are their age. And to me, it was just a beautiful thing. I have to say, Snoop, I feel a little lonely back here. I mean, I was worn out, because we combined a little bit of business, or combined a lot of business with this family vacation. So I was a little worn out when I got back. But I also have this feeling of loneliness. We are so isolated here. It's just us.
And my aunt and uncle. Yeah.
Yeah, but, they live a little ways away. They're older.
I know. Yeah. But that's how it goes.
That's how it goes, I guess.
Yeah.
And honestly, I should just wipe those feelings away and just enjoy that good time that we had there, because it was a good time. I want to also give a shout out to 2 people specifically that are outside of the family. Ricky Antonetti.
She
Ricky
was
Antonetti
so
Wathy,
nice.
her full name. We love you to death. If you're watching, I'm pointing at that camera and I'm pointing at you. We love you to death, Ricky. It was so nice. Wasn't it so nice?
That was.
Isn't she just
really
the sweetheart that I said she always was?
Yes.
For those who don't know, which is probably everybody, nobody knows, Ricky is a old classmate of mine from high school. Great friend, beautiful person. She's a very kind and giving spirit, and it was great to see her again. Charlie,
what a fun person.
Yeah, she's a lot of fun.
And so nice.
So nice, so full of energy, funny, and we just love her to death.
The kids loved you too. Oh my goodness, they loved her.
Kids loved you too.
They came out there and with stars in their eyes. Oh my gosh, she was so nice.
Yep. Ricky Antonetti Wathy. And another one, Charlie Hankey, from Buckeye Gym. Charlie, I wish I would have gotten to see you again. We just saw him that one day, but the honey that he, I'm going to see if, I don't think he's got a website or anything for that. If he does, I'm going to get that from him and link it into this episode.
So we can cucumber?
From his garden. I have never tasted cucumber so good. You would not think that a cucumber has a flavor.
I know.
It's kind of dull and watery, and
I was not expecting
this cucumber had a kick. It was just
amazing. I wonder what he put in there.
And he has his beehives and his honey. I took his honey as a pre-workout. and yes, honeycomb, you guys, is the greatest natural pre-workout that I know of. So hats off to you.
Friends, John.
Talk about feeling fortunate and blessed. This whole thing about going back home really drove home what a fortunate man I am to get to see Ma and my aunt. That is a reminder.
And thank you, Ira, for this beautiful.
My aunt sewed that. It's an heirloom. It's a blanket, and that is a family heirloom sewn by my aunt. given to us while we were home on vacation. So you guys will see that cover from now on this couch. That's where it's going to be. I want everybody around the world, when they watch my show, to see the work of my aunt. There it is. But seeing Ma and my aunt, it was a reminder to me that I am who I am because of them. Also because of my grandmother, may she rest in peace, but because of my Ma and my aunt. I am the man. It's their fault, Snoop. I'm the man I am today because of them.
Very good.
So,
And Cheryl, we met Cheryl. That was fun too.
yeah,
Very nice woman.
my project manager,
Mm-hmm.
lovely woman. Couldn't do what I'm doing in business without her.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Cheryl. Don't know if she's watching or listening, but if you are, Cheryl, we love you. You know that. But I'm just saying it for everybody in the world who's watching or listening, that we love you. Thank you, Cheryl. But it wasn't all cozy. It wasn't all love. It wasn't all relaxing.
Well, I think I know what you mean. The thing is, how do I say this? I was not really looking forward to going to Ohio.
Why? Let's talk on it.
Like I used to. I used to love the United States. I wanted to move back.
Well, tell them why you didn't this time.
Because of all the craziness going on.
And what's the craziness?
With them changing laws, changing curriculum that you're not allowed to use the word slave or make white people feel uncomfortable about the slavery thing in certain states and
I've always wondered,
and so
as a direct response to that thing about, and we're talking about Florida in that case, Governor DeSantis does not want any school curriculum to make white people uncomfortable, specifically about slavery. And I've always wondered, what is he doing to not make black people uncomfortable with the current situation with racism, discrimination? I just wonder what he's doing about that. You want to talk about people who are uncomfortable? I'll tell you, I was so uncomfortable. Let's talk about this. A couple things that we had to adjust.
But the thing is also about the gun, all the
yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. But I want to talk about this thing about who's uncomfortable and something that should be done. You want to talk about being uncomfortable? We flew into DC and then drove a rental car from DC to Ohio. We spent the first night in DC and drove up to Ohio. Anybody want to guess how many miles of that trip I drove? Answer is 0. I didn't drive at all. Snoopy did the whole thing, did all the driving. Also, when we were back and forth to different destinations within the state of Ohio, I didn't drive a single mile. The drive from Ohio and back to DC, I didn't drive a single mile. Why is that?
Are you asking me?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that when we've seen all these and heard and read about all these crazy stops of black people by the police and how they wrestle people to the ground, have them do this and the other, and if they don't do exactly, or even if they do exactly, they get shot or strangled or whatever.
I think it was the day we got back, or maybe it was the day before. Maybe I'm trying to remember where I saw this. I may have seen it on the news in the hotel in DC, but it was a black man, 6-year-old son, and his wife, his son's mother. They had a car from Arkansas or Arizona, something, and the police driving behind them ran the license plate, and they ran it the opposite of what it was. Instead of putting AR, they put AZ, or instead of AZ, they put AR, one or the other, Arkansas, Arizona, something like that. And the car came back as possibly stolen because they couldn't find that actual car because they put the wrong state. Mm-hmm. So they pull first the little 6-year-old boy, pulled out at gunpoint, handcuffed and put in the back of a police car. And to hear that 6-year-old boy, to see his tears and hear his voice as he was crying is heartbreaking. And it's not even my child. I don't like other people's kids.
I know.
I just got a lot of friends that just distanced me now, but I don't like other people's kids. But it was heartbreaking to hear the fear in that poor child as he was hollering. it was heartbreaking to hear the mother and father pleading for the police to not do what they were doing and to be asking why are they doing what they're doing. They put the wife in handcuffs and put her in the back of the car. And I'm just thinking, as I do when I see all of those types of videos, I just get to thinking, because it's not that far of a step to take. I think, what if that was me?
Exactly.
And what if they were doing that to...
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to cut that out. I can't say his name. And I get to thinking, what if they did that to my son? What if they did that to my daughter? What if they were doing that to me in front of my son or daughter? And I put myself in that situation. You know, I'm putting myself in their shoes. I'm an empathetic, sympathetic man. And I feel this, it scares me. It's almost an uncontrollable rage. And I'm just sitting imagining if it was me, if it was us, if it was our kids. And the rage I feel, and I fear that I am correct when I think that if I was in that situation, I would not come out of it with my heart still beating. I'm worried about algorithms and stuff, so I don't want to say the word.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I fear. That's what I fear, because it is such is the protection instinct that I have for my family.
Yeah.
Now, such is the protection instinct I have for my family that I would hope that I would be able to breathe, calm down, and get out of that, get through that kind of situation.
Think you would.
But I think I would too, but I can't help but...
My fear is that because if you would have been driving, I think there's more likely, and we talked about this, is more likely that we will be stopped if you, as a black man, is driving a fancy. It was a fancy,
strong black man.
Strong black man.
Thank you.
A fancy car, because it was a fancy car, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I thought so anyway.
Sure,
yeah,
it was.
A truck or whatever you will call it.
Well, we see how black men get profiled on the streets. We see it, and that is why, and because of incidents like the one that I just described, that happened, like the day we got back, or the day after, or the day before, I can't remember. Those things happen. So the precaution.
Not only that incident, many incidents.
That's what I'm talking about. It happens over and
we
over
had
and
been
over.
stopped. If you had been, we could have been stopped, of course, if I was driving, because I didn't drive very well.
I'm surprised. I ain't got to worry about no police stopping us and getting hurt. It was your driving. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. It was so difficult. All them screens in that fancy car and reading all the writing on all these signs.
It's a car.
Oh my goodness.
It's not an F-16.
I think it is so good that it is illegal to have a cell phone in your hand and use it while you're driving here in Norway. It's great, because looking at that GPS screen with all the information and all the screens and things coming up in that car, it was just, anyway.
For whatever the reason.
Yeah, whatever the reason. Anyway, if we would have been stopped for whatever reason, especially if you were black, then they would have said, get out of the car.
Especially because I'm black, there's more of a likelihood of a situation being escalated unnecessarily.
And because you're big, they would be scared. And
yes, and I've said it before. Yeah. I think a lot of the problems that we see with policing these days is because there's too many policemen out there walking around in a state of unsecured fear. Yep. They're afraid.
They see a big black man and they think they're going to get hurt. And the thing is that they would have asked you to get your arms up and then and you couldn't. Of course, with that one arm, and then
because of all my shoulder operation, I just want to clarify for the people that don't know. I've had 8, 9, 10 shoulder operations on this arm here, and I can't raise it. So imagine that scared police officer. Get your hands up.
Oh, you can't.
And I can only do this.
Right.
The other one right here. That's it.
So if they didn't shoot you, then they would.
When he says, "Put your hands behind your back,"
you wouldn't be able to do that.
I can't do that.
And then they would strangle you. Or shoot you.
So all of these things have gone around in my head for months, for years now. Yep. And we just made the decision that I'm not going to drive on this vacation.
It's better to take a chance on me crashing the car. It's
And
safer.
and I think that's it's sad
It is.
that we did that. But I felt that it was necessary because, again, it's to a certain degree, it's out of my control what happens if we are faced with a situation like that. Because most of the decision making is going to be made by that police officer, and I don't trust that. So we found it just easier for me not to drive. That's the first major adjustment. It was for a major reason, but it was a rather simple thing for me to just not drive. It's sad, but it was just a simple grip to take. Grip. I blended my Norwegian and my English.
Yeah.
But second, the second thing we had to do, or felt that we had to do, you're shaking your head. You think I shouldn't say it. Yeah. Should I save that one?
We'll save that.
Let me save that one because that's gonna get baked in with a whole other series of things. Anyway. So, well, it does fit because it was another thing that we had to do because of the state of let's call it race and race relations back home. Yep. Because of that, we had to make a serious adjustment in a business move that I'm making. And again, I think it's disgusting and sad, but evaluating the situation, thinking of the way things are, not the way I think things are, but because of the way things are, based upon fact of things that have happened.
And another simple thing, I enjoy shopping. We did go to the store, but I stayed away. I did not want to go to big malls and so on because of that law that everybody is allowed to carry guns all over the place. And
Ohio has a concealed carry law, and you no longer need a permit to own a weapon.
Yeah, to Ohio. Me that is a little scary.
Wild West.
It's what if we walk down in some big shopping mall and we don't know our ways.
Well, see, the thing is and I don't have any data in front of me, so I don't know if shootings have gone up or down in Ohio, but I do know that was a danger before the new law where you don't need a permit to have a weapon. That's that. And believe me, I'm not advocating for open carry or concealed carry without a permit or owning a firearm without a permit. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying I don't know if shootings went up or down when Ohio changed its gun laws. I don't know. In other words, I'm saying the danger has always been there of crazy gun owners.
Me as a foreigner,
or gun possessors, not necessarily legal owners.
Yeah, but me as a foreigner, hearing about this on the news makes me want to not really go to the United States. If I hadn't been married with you,
I think that's an issue.
I would have gone to Italy.
That's quite real. There's a lot of people who are no longer willing to travel to the United States because of the crazy. Yeah. The things about weapons, the things about the MAGA movement. Let me talk about that too. What a disappointment. Now, I will not begrudge anyone their political views. I never have. In fact, as some of you know, I've only had one Republican on my show, and that is Austin Rasmussen. Hats off to my friend and brother. I don't agree with hardly anything he thinks politically, but he did come on my show. I can't find an opposing political viewpoint. For some reason, Republicans, specifically MAGA Republicans, Trump supporters, refuse to come on my show to back up their points. They'll go crazy on that keyboard online, but they won't come here and talk. So if you're listening, I doubt you are, but if you're listening and you're a Republican or a MAGA Trump supporter, I invite you to my show. Let's talk. Not fight verbally, but let's talk. Let's have a dialogue, discussion, and debate. No hate, only debate. But that was a long caveat. I just wanted to make sure people know I don't begrudge anyone their political views, but I think it was disappointing. I think it was borderline vulgar to be driving through, and we saw this off and on the whole drive from DC and into Ohio, and then all over Ohio, not all over, but often in Ohio, those 6 by 12 foot banners saying F Biden, only the word is fully spelled out. That is fascinating to me that people can wave that vulgarity, wave that toxicity, and actually make it a part of their home. and these big, huge, not just a little
They call
sign,
themselves
but a big
Christian.
banner, 6 by
Very
12
often
foot banner.
Christian, aren't they?
So that's what they say. And that's a whole nother debate.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's interesting.
it is interesting. It is interesting.
Yeah.
So the vacation was very heartwarming and emotional for me, and it was a beautiful thing. But there were those elements
Right.
of adjustments that we had to make because of the toxic racial situation. When I say toxic racial, I will debate to my dying day that this whole thing with racism is not a two-way street. It's not a both sides type of thing. My white brothers and sisters, you need to take a deep breath and listen for a while, and let's get into a dialogue about racism. Stop both sidesing it, because that's just ridiculous. You disagree with me, put it in the comments or come on my show. I'd love to talk to you.
There was one other incident. There was several, but there was one. Remember when we were on our way back to Washington? We drove those little roads.
Yeah, they're called back roads.
Back roads, yeah. And then we had to just run in and use the restroom.
Yeah.
And
that
little place way out. I don't know, where was that? Virginia or something?
No, this was in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in that I call it no man's land, where you're not really sure if you're in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, or Maryland.
But it was just a little corner there.
Yeah.
And we walked in, and this lady
behind the counter you walked in first, several steps ahead of me.
Yeah, and then she smiled and so on, and
then I walk in, she looked, and her face fell,
froze.
And I'd say there was maybe 10 people in there, a mixture between men and women, and every person turned around and stared at me for a full second. Every white man in there stared at me for 10, 12 seconds, the time it took for me to walk.
Oh, they paid attention.
And then into the bathroom.
Yeah, and they paid attention the whole time. Oh my goodness!
Try that in a small town.
I don't think I peed that fast ever.
And listeners and viewers, you've heard it. Snoopy has never peed faster.
Running out of there. Oh my gosh, I couldn't get out of there.
Wasn't that something else?
Quick enough, yeah.
That
was very uncomfortable.
A very open feeling of hostility. Very open.
We have driven on little roads in the States many times before.
We've been in backcountry, yeah,
right,
down south.
And I have not experienced that before.
Never. Not together with you. No. Now when I was truck driving, for those 18 months or so after I was done in the Marines, I
haven't experienced it.
I experienced that in some towns.
Right.
But this is the first time I experienced that back home with you.
Yeah, and I'm usually very blind to all these things, but this time I really saw it. Yeah. So anyway,
it was a very interesting experience. These things, it kind of, and I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised that happened in that restaurant. No, I wasn't surprised about the F Biden signs, but it was just kind of sad to be right.
Yeah.
It was very sad. I think it is such a sad state of things.
The area where we stayed and the people we stayed with is very nice.
That part of Ohio, yeah. I checked the numbers. It's 53% Democrat.
Right. So
and we felt
I
that.
Kind of, yeah. And I forgot about a lot of that.
Yes.
Most of the time.
Everybody was so friendly.
Very nice.
Going into here's what I missed, and I was so glad to experience it again. But this is one thing that I've missed the last 21 years of living here, is that open friendliness that they just put out there with no conditions, no reservations. That thing where
that lady at Target.
Oh yes,
remember that?
Let me pull this up because I wrote it down. I'm glad you mentioned that because I would have gone through this entire episode and forgotten about that. We were checking out at Target.
And the what do you call it? The checkout lady?
Yeah, the cashier.
Mm-hmm.
And
a middle-aged woman.
Yeah. I'm going to find it because I wrote it down. Oh my goodness. Come on. Where is it? Where is it?
I kind of remember it.
Don't say it because I want to read it exactly. There it is. Okay. So we pay for all of our stuff. And as we're picking up our bags, this lady looked, her eyes hit all four of us, you, me, and both the babies. And she said, I pray that you are protected and healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I pray that you are protected and healthy. Now I'm getting goosebumps
I know.
talking about it, saying those words and thinking about when she said that to me. What a sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
What a pure thought.
You say, if we met that in Norway, we were wondering if she was trying to curse us or something.
No, that wouldn't go over in the same way, but I thought, and the kids were almost visibly
shocked,
taken aback,
yeah,
just shocked.
That somebody a stranger.
Now, I would say that was the pinnacle. That was probably the pinnacle of kindness from strangers there. But there were also moments when I bought a cream stick, a cream filled donut, and we were checking out all of our food, and I forgot that one on the shelf at the beginning of the checkout counter because we wanted to set it aside so it wouldn't get squished up in the bags. And this old guy says, "Hey, you forgot something there." And I said something like, "Oh my gosh, that was the most important thing that we came here for. And thank you for telling me because my wife would never let me come back to get it." And then he came with another, and we were telling jokes for 2 or 3 minutes back and forth about this little cream stick, laughing, smiling, and just feeling good and spreading some joy between each other. And it wasn't just a passing thing. We held on to that for a couple minutes. Yeah. And it's just little beautiful moments like that with people, with individuals. I don't know. And he was a white guy. As my grandma said, "Oh, he's a white guy,
but he's all right."
But he's all right. No, my point is, I had no idea. I had no idea he's a white guy, but he's all right. No, he was. I had no idea what his political affiliations were. I don't know what his criminal background is, if he has one. I don't know anything about the guy, and he didn't know anything about me. But in that moment, we were like good friends, and that is what I remember about back home. Mm-hmm. That's what I remember about rural/suburban Ohio. Yeah. And it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful to experience that time and time and time again.
It's different from down south here in Norway anyway, where we live.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, we get a little bit of that up north in Norway, but even that's not even close to the way it was back home. So let it suffice. Let it be enough to say that it was a beautiful, beautiful lesson-filled vacation. Mm-hmm. And again, it was a bitter lesson because I was kind of sad to know that I was right, that these elements are alive and well back home. This thing with racism, this thing with the toxic political views. And I'm not saying if you're a Republican, you're toxic. I'm saying a toxic political view is a toxic political view. When you put a 6x12 banner on your house saying F Biden or F anybody, that's a little toxic.
A little bit.
Take that to church with you.
That's very well said.
Is it?
Yeah, take that to church.
Take that to church, y'all.
And see what the preacher says.
And see what take that to church and see what the preacher says. I like that.
Yeah. I wonder if the preacher would like if you carry that flag into the church.
Well,
or even standing
because
outside.
I'm not afraid to talk about my political views in church. I was ready to wrap this up, but this is actually very interesting things. I'm not better than anybody, but I'm saying me personally, I am not afraid to talk about my political views in church.
You had your friend over today. He had a good sentence.
Rob Gray.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what it was?
I kind of remember, but
let's hear it because I forgot.
Really? He said something like, Jesus wouldn't piss on some poor people.
Jesus never pissed on the poor.
That's what it was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jesus never pissed on the poor. Yeah. It's a quote from my good friend Rob Gray, another American in Norway. He lives on the West Coast, but he was here for some family business, and he was so kind to grace my home, our home, for a couple hours, even though he had some family business to take care of. So thank you, Rob. I love you to death, my friend and brother, Rob Gray. He's been on the show twice. Check it out. Search his name, Rob Gray, Gray. Jesus never pissed on the poor.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah, we weren't talking about the poor, but you can stretch that out, and you can say, I wonder if Jesus would sanction ugliness like that from a true Christian. Aren't you supposed to turn the other cheek and all that stuff? I don't know. I never went to Sunday school, but no,
Yes, you did for a while. No, but it's, that's. I think that's a great statement. Jesus never pissed on the poor. It's a statement. Let that hang out there and let that wash over you, and then do a little bit of introspection and evaluate your life a little bit. Yep. Amen. Listen, let's wind this up.
Yeah.
Kind of a wandering, meandering podcast, but that's what happens.
Listen to the thunder.
Yeah, listen, do you guys hear that thunder?
Wow.
Kind of a wandering podcast, but that's what happens when we don't have a format. Snoopy and I just wanted to get on, or I wanted to get on. Snoopy didn't, but thank you for doing it anyway.
You're
welcome. Wanted to just get on the microphone and talk about our vacation because there were a few, like I say, interesting learning moments. But in the greater sense of all the experiences on our vacation, it was just a beautiful, beautiful time with family, and I'm quite the fortunate man. So, and Snoop, you're just beautiful. And they told you that. It's not just me teasing you, talking about how you got a nice ass and look at them legs and all of that stuff. It's not that.
They didn't say that.
That's what I'm just saying. They did. It's not all that. It's not that. Oh, it's them telling you genuinely what a beautiful person you are. And they observe how you are to me and to our kids. And they appreciate you because of that. So that says a lot about you. Okay. Don't cry. She's heartless. She's not going to cry.
I'm not going to.
So I try to soften you up by saying, don't cry, so people think you are. They can't see you on the camera, so you should have snuffled a little bit. They would think you were crying.
No.
But seriously, though, my family loves you, and that just makes everything easier. Just think if they hated you. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I wouldn't care.
That's true. You wouldn't care. You just hate them back.
No. I just wouldn't care.
No.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
No.
Okay, let me wrap this up, people, by saying go to my website, johnallenpod.com, JOHNALANPOD.com. Go there. You'll see the first thing that comes up is my audiobook. You click on there. You put in your email address. You pay $5 a month, and I will send you one chapter of my audiobook per week. Approximately, give or take. I've been off now for the summer, but I'm getting right back at it. So it's coming for those of you who have been sitting and waiting. For those of you who sign up for that $5 a month subscription, now you will begin with chapter 1, which was written long ago. And then every week you'll get one more chapter. I write a chapter. I come in. I get on that microphone over there behind the camera. I read in the chapter, and then I put it out there for my subscribers. And you get one chapter a week. It doesn't matter when you start. You'll always begin on chapter 1, and then 1 week from there, chapter 2, and so on. All the proceeds go towards the production of the hardcover and paperback when that time comes. Cool thing, this book is still in development. It is published, but it's not finished. You see what I'm saying? You guys get one chapter a week, and I keep writing until I'm done. You see how that works? You guys motivate me. I give back to you. That's how this works. $5 a month. Small money, right? Jump in there at johnallenpod.com. Get my audiobook. Thank you, Snoopy. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Please watch on YouTube. Please listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and any major podcast platform. Thank you all very much. Go out there, love and be loved, and enjoy the process. Bye now.